All right, thanks for joining me. So in this tutorial, we're going to learn how to create a pad sound without really using any music theory and all that jazz. We're not going to be inputting notes or talking about major or minor chords or any of that stuff. We're going to keep things really simple, and we're going to come up with a compelling pad sound using samples, all right? If you are digging the sounds in this tutorial, be sure to download your free Serum preset pack. Links are in the description. So let me play out the excerpt and we can get started. All right, so this is the pad sound I want us to focus on right over here. Right? Nice and dreamy, really simple. And so we're going to do this not so much with music theory in mind, but quite simply using a sample. And so the original sample sounded like this. It's a Rhodes. This is what this guy sounds like. All right, easy stuff here. So what I want to do here is create a MIDI channel. I have that MIDI channel created right over here. I'm going to grab this audio track and slide it down here. Ableton automatically sets that audio sample into what is called a simpler. And now I am able to trigger that sample using my keyboard. Great, but I don't want to use a simpler. I'm going to use a sampler only because it offers a few more options. So I'm going to right click over here at the header and choose simpler to sampler. And so now I have the ability of setting some algorithms here. This is really important here. So if you don't see this, it's because you have the simpler engaged. So go ahead and toggle it to the sampler. Now what I can do is select various points of this sample. Let me go ahead and select this area here. All right, and I'm also going to set my end brace to, let's say, about this section here. So every time I hit a note, Ableton starts it from this point to that point. If I toggle it to the second option here, this is what happens. So the sample is triggered at this point, gets to the end of the brace, and then is sort of re-looping itself back to the very beginning, all right? Might be useful for certain applications, but for this context, that's not what we want. Let's choose this third option here, this third algorithm. So now we have it set to forward and reversing. So what happens now when I hit the note? All right, so we get this continuous sort of loop, which is exactly what we want. And this is how we've created this pad sound here. Let me go ahead and come back to the original sample. This is what this guy sounds like. But first, let me disengage the reverb as well as the EQ. We're going to get into this momentarily. So this is what I have. Same idea. The only difference is that I've chosen a much shorter snippet of the sample. Now, in order to get rid of that sort of stuttering sound, I'm going to add the reverb. You can copy these settings. This is what this sounds like. So we have one consistent stream, one consistent note. You can copy these settings. I have the size and the stereo set to 100. The decay time, probably one of the most important parameters of this reverb, is set to 3.62 seconds. And the dry wet is set to 78%. And then finally, just to filter out some of those lower frequencies here, I have it set to a bandpass. So we're getting rid of the sub information as well as the higher frequencies. And I have some automation here. This is what the automation lane looks like. So it's emphasizing certain frequencies, and in the context of a mix, it sort of makes it sound a lot more dreamy. Without. And with. Now let's play this whole thing without the reverb and the EQ. All right, so you can hear that's really choppy, it just doesn't flow at all. So we add the reverb and we do a bit of filtering to get that nice dreamy sound. All right, easy peasy. See you in the next one. Bye for now.